The rain had stopped hours ago, but the streets of Tampa still glistened under the city lights. The Delmere Suite stood tall, its facade gleaming, a beacon of black excellence in the heart of the city. Inside, the lobby buzzed with the usual evening activity, guests checking in, bellhops maneuvering luggage carts, and the soft hum of jazz playing in the background. At the front desk, a young receptionist named Tasha was engrossed in her computer screen, her fingers dancing over the keyboard. Beside her, Marcus, the night manager, reviewed the reservation list, his brow furrowed in concentration. A woman entered the lobby, her presence commanding yet understated. Dressed in a tailored suit, she carried herself with an air of quiet authority. She approached the front desk, her eyes scanning the surroundings. "Good evening," she said, her voice calm. "I'd like to book a room for the night." Tasha looked up, offering a practiced smile. "Of course. Do you have a reservation?" "No." Marcus stepped in, his tone polite but firm. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but we're fully booked tonight. A convention in town has filled all our rooms." The woman nodded slowly, her expression unreadable. "I see. Thank you." She turned and walked away, leaving the staff to resume their duties. But something about the encounter lingered, a subtle tension that hadn't been there before. In the staff lounge, whispers circulated about the mysterious woman. Some speculated she was a secret shopper, others thought she might be a corporate executive. The truth was far more significant. Later that evening, an urgent email arrived from the corporate office. Subject: immediate staff meeting, mandatory attendance. All available staff are to report to the main conference room at 10 p.m. sharp. The conference room buzzed with murmurs as employees gathered, curiosity and apprehension in the air. At precisely 10 p.m., the door opened, and the woman from earlier entered. Gasps echoed as recognition dawned. She was Nadine Roland, founder of the Delmere Group. Nadine stood at the front, her gaze sweeping the room. She began to speak, her voice steady. "I arrived at this hotel tonight and was denied a room. Not because there were none available, but because I was unrecognized." A hush fell over the room. "This isn't about me," she continued. "It's about what we represent. The Delmere Group was founded to be a haven, a place where everyone is seen and valued." She spoke of her experiences, of the discrimination she faced, and how it fueled her mission. Her words were not accusatory but enlightening, challenging the staff to reflect on their roles. Among the staff, a young housekeeper named Raina listened intently, her mind racing. Beside her, Eldon, a security guard, shifted uncomfortably. Both felt the weight of Nadine's words. Nadine concluded, "Change begins with awareness. From this moment, we will implement new training, rewrite our protocols, and ensure that our values are not just words but actions." As the meeting adjourned, the staff dispersed, each person deep in thought. Raina approached Eldon. "Did you see the way she looked at us? Like she saw right through us." Eldon nodded. "Maybe it's time we start seeing ourselves the same way." Later that night, in the penthouse suite, Nadine sat at a desk, pen in hand. She wrote a letter addressed to all her employees, outlining the night's events and the path forward. She ended with 3 questions, meant to guide weekly reflections. Who did you see today? How did you make them feel seen? What will you do differently tomorrow? As she sealed the envelope, a knock sounded at the door. A young room service attendant, D. Shad, entered, carrying a tray. "Your favorite soup, ma'am," he said, placing it on the table. Nadine smiled. "Thank you, D. Shad." He hesitated. "Is there anything else you need?" She looked at him, her eyes warm. "Just keep doing what you're doing." As D. Shad left, Nadine turned back to the window, the city lights reflecting in her eyes. The night had brought challenges, but also clarity. And with that, a new chapter for the Delmere Group began. If you're enjoying this so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps us grow and lets us keep bringing you more content like this. Plus, you won't want to miss what we have coming next. Trust me, it's going to be good. The elevator doors sealed with a heavy click. Nadine Roland stood inside, her back straight, the soft hum of the rising cabin doing little to calm her racing thoughts. Her penthouse awaited. So did answers. But as the floor numbers ticked upward, 10, 11, 12, her reflection in the polished brass flickered. For a second, it wasn't her face staring back. It was someone else's. Not a ghost, not a trick of light. A face she knew. A face that should be buried in memory. Then it was gone. Floor 16. The suite doors parted. A long hallway stretched ahead. Silent. Dim. Her heels tapped sharp against the tile. One hand clutched the letter she'd written earlier. The other slid into her coat pocket. The door to her suite was cracked open. She stopped cold. Housekeeping? No, not at this hour. She pushed the door open slowly. The room was dark, except for the soft amber glow of the desk lamp. The soup tray was still there, untouched, but the note she left for her assistant gone. Something was off. She stepped in. "Delmere Security," she called out gently, a calculated tone of calm. "If someone's inside, now's your moment to explain." Silence. Then, a whisper. From behind the bedroom curtain. She turned, eyes sharp, muscles ready. But it wasn't an attacker. It was Eldon, the night shift security guard, breathing hard, shirt soaked through. "What the hell are you doing in here?" she said, voice clipped. I was following someone. They bypassed the back service stairs. I caught a glimpse, hooded. Not hotel staff. They went this way. I thought they were gone. Then I saw your door." He trailed off, eyes flicking to the soup. "Did you eat it?" he asked. "No, don't." He stepped forward, pulled a small folded paper from his pocket, and handed it to her. It was her note, the one from earlier. Folded perfectly, but not in her handwriting anymore. Now it read, "You're looking in the wrong direction." "Someone switched it," Eldon whispered. Nadine moved fast, snatched the soup tray, dumped it into the sink. The broth had a strange sheen, a chemical smell. She grabbed her phone. No bars. Wi-Fi offline. Security protocol failure. Internal systems breached. "We're not dealing with a mistake," she said. "We're dealing with a message." Eldon nodded. "And someone with access." "Deep access." Nadine moved to the suite's secured cabinet, punched in the code, pulled out the emergency phone line and her encrypted folder. She opened it, but the inside was wrong. Files rearranged. One missing. A file on the Charlotte property, the one not yet open to the public. Its construction had been delayed 3 times. She'd always suspected interference. Now she was sure. "There's someone inside this company," she said slowly, trying to tear it apart from the inside. Eldon checked the hallway again. "We need to regroup." But before they could move, the suite lights flickered, then went out. Complete blackout. The soft hum of the hotel generator kicked in seconds later. Red backup lights glowed along the hallway floor. Then the emergency speaker activated. "Attention, guests. We're experiencing a temporary power outage. Please remain calm." Staff are responding. A lie. Nadine knew her systems. Delmere Suites didn't just lose power. Not without a deliberate override. Then her phone buzzed. One text. No sender ID. The girl saw too much. Nadine's breath caught. "Raina," she said. Eldon was already moving. "She was on the 9th floor last I saw. Doing rounds." They ran. The stairwell felt colder than it should. Halfway down, the emergency lighting glitched twice. Each floor they passed added tension. Guests peeked through doors, confused, murmuring. Then floor 9. It was too quiet. They emerged into the hallway. The scent of citrus cleaner clung to the walls. One room door was wide open, 917. Nadine rushed in. The bed was rumpled. A cleaning cart knocked over. Towels on the floor. A shoe, small, white, lay near the bathroom. No Raina. But on the mirror, 3 words written in steam. She asked why. Eldon's jaw clenched. "That's her." "She challenged someone," Nadine said. She noticed something wrong. They searched fast. No blood. No signs of struggle. Whoever took her, if she was taken, did it quiet, calculated. Nadine pulled a small device from her pocket. Her personal line tracker. She keyed in Raina's ID. Every staff member had one on their badge chip. It blinked red, then green. "Basement level. Storage wing," Eldon said. "Nobody's supposed to be down there at night." They moved. Back down the stairs. The temperature dropped with each level. Floor B1 was dark, unstaffed. Pipes hissed overhead. The tracker beeped faster. A door stood ajar at the far end. They approached. Inside, cold air. Shelving. Supply crates. And then in the far corner, Raina. Gagged. Hands tied. Alive. Eyes wide. They rushed over. Eldon cut the ropes. Nadine tore the gag free. "Who did this?" she whispered. Raina tried to speak. Shaking. Crying. "They said, don't trust what you built. They knew me. They knew you. They said you forgot something." "Forgot what?" Nadine asked. Raina looked her dead in the eye. "Your first investor." Silence. Nadine stared at her. "That's not possible." Eldon's voice cracked. "You mean like someone from the early days?" "Who?" "I don't know," Raina said. They wore gloves, voice modulator, but they said you betrayed them. Nadine sat back. A storm churned behind her eyes. There had been one, a silent partner, from the beginning, back before the first Delmere suites, back when the idea was just sketches and recipes. He'd offered funding, asked for no public credit, just influence. She hadn't heard from him in over a decade. She'd assumed he was gone. Until now. Eldon's radio crackled. Security breach. Main lobby. Unidentified male. A pause. Requesting all available personnel. Then silence. Raina clutched Nadine's arm. They said they were just the beginning. That others are inside. Already working. They? Nadine said. Raina nodded. They call themselves the Fourth Table. The words hit like ice water. That name had surfaced only once, in a buried legal dispute involving hotel permits overseas. A phantom consulting group. No trace. No office. Just influence. Deals that vanished. People who disappeared. Nadine stood. We're under attack, and we've been blind to it. Eldon moved toward the door. We go to the lobby. Nadine's eyes narrowed. No. We do the opposite. We go to the archives. The archives? Where every original contract, employee file, investor record is stored. In hard copy. No digital trail. If someone's trying to erase history, we need to remember it first. She turned to Raina. Can you walk? I'll run if I have to. They left the basement. Took the back tunnel through the service kitchen. Avoided elevators. Emergency lights kept flickering. Every shadow stretched long. Every face felt suspect. They reached the archive room, a reinforced chamber below the administrative wing. Nadine keyed in her thumbprint. The door clicked open. Inside, rows of file cabinets. Labeled dated locked. She moved fast. Section D. Investor files. Drawer 7. She pulled it open. Empty. Every folder gone. Except one. Inside, an envelope. Her name written in red ink. She opened it. One photograph. Of her. Sitting with a man in a gray suit. At a table in New Orleans. Smiling. No date. No location metadata. But the man's face blurred. And beneath it, typed. You said this would be ours. You forgot me. Now I will forget you. Eldon read over her shoulder. He's making this personal. It always was, Nadine said quietly. Then the archive room lights died completely. A mechanical hiss. The sound of vents shifting. The door slammed shut behind them. They were locked in. Seconds later, smoke. Thick. Burning. Chemical. Not fire. Gas. They hit the ground fast. Covered their mouths. Nadine reached for her emergency pin. Jammed it into the wall socket. The light blinked green. Location beacon active. Then nothing. Blackness. When Nadine opened her eyes, it was morning. She was in a hotel room, but not her suite. A different floor. Lower. Standard guest room. Eldon was on the couch. Breathing. Eyes fluttering. Raina, nowhere in sight. On the nightstand, a note. Handwritten. You've been warned. You still have time to step down, or we will step in. At the bottom, 3 black marks. Like an insignia. 3 intersecting squares. The Fourth Table. Nadine crushed the note in her fist. She stood slowly, her head pounding, and walked to the window. Outside, across the street, a black car idled. Inside, 3 figures. Watching. Waiting. She didn't look away. Didn't blink. Instead, she whispered. Round 2. The soup was cold when Dishad returned. The penthouse was dark, curtains drawn, lights off. He stood at the door with the tray in his hands, unsure if he should knock again. Ms. Roland didn't answer. She always answered. He set the tray down gently on the hallway console and looked up at the camera. Blinking red. Active. Watching. Security should have been here already. Dishad tapped his earpiece. Still no answer from 1601. Can someone run a check? The silence on the line stretched too long. Then, we've got a situation. They found her in the lounge room, barefoot, robe tied tight, standing in front of the unlit fireplace. Not moving. Not blinking. Her hands trembled slightly, but her voice was calm. Who opened my grandfather's file? She asked without turning. Eldon, now promoted to lead overnight security, stepped in with care. We're not sure, but the login came from within the hotel. Admin access. For minutes after your speech ended. Her eyes didn't move. And the lockbox? Gone. She nodded once, then turned. You'll need to triple the guard rotation. I want a full sweep of all elevators, stairwells, utility tunnels. No one leaves. No one. 5 hours earlier, when Raina slipped the note into Nadine's palm, she hadn't seen the man. But someone else had. The bartender. Daryl. He watched from behind the marble counter, pouring drinks he no longer remembered making, while Nadine unfolded the slip of paper. He knew that name. He hadn't heard it in over 20 years. He reached under the bar, pressed the silent alert, then stopped himself. His thumb hovered over the last digit. He didn't press it. He poured another drink instead. The name in the note was Ansel Rhodes. To anyone else, it was just a name. But to Nadine, it was a map to the past. A man buried in sealed files, NDAs, and one signature she'd tried for decades to forget. He wasn't supposed to be in Tampa. He wasn't supposed to be alive. And yet, the cameras showed him, bald now, heavier, but still walking like a man who'd never been caught. Through the front doors. Past reception. Into the elevator. Deshad had held the door open for him, without even knowing. The signature on the guest card read, J. Almont. By sunrise, the staff was on lockdown. Phones disabled. System access frozen. Guests restricted to their floors. A crisis team had been summoned, but Nadine gave strict orders. No police, not yet. She needed answers first. And the only person who could give them was hiding on the 12th floor. But when they got there, Suite 1203 was empty. Pillow untouched. Room spotless. Only one thing was left behind. A matchbook from a jazz lounge long since burned down. Inside it, a phone number. Local. And 3 words scribbled in perfect handwriting. I remember everything. Nadine shut the door and exhaled slowly. She knew what this was. A reckoning. The Delmere Group wasn't just a business. It was a barricade she'd built out of reputation and steel, mortar and equity, to keep the old ghosts out. But the ghosts had followed. She pulled out her private ledger. Not the digital one. The black book she kept in her room safe. Names. Places. Crossed out contracts. Hidden debts. Page after page until she reached the one she'd avoided for years. The 4th table. A code name. A circle of silent investors who helped her fund the original property when banks refused. They weren't benevolent. They weren't legitimate. They made their money clean only after they made it dirty. And Ansel Rhodes had been their mouthpiece. Their fixer. Their ghost. She had walked away after the first hotel, bought them out one by one. All except one. The 5th key. Daryl, the bartender, made his call that morning. Not to Nadine. To someone else. She's rattled, he said into the burner. She's opening the old books. The voice on the other end was hollow. Did she mention the 5th? Not yet. But she will. Click. Raina was cleaning the conference room when she found the envelope. Plain white. No name. Just the hotel's seal pressed in deep wax. She slid it into her cart. Later, in the break room, she opened it. Inside, a photo. From 1997. Nadine. Younger. Smiling. Standing beside a man in a cream suit. Ansel. Behind them, the first Delmere ribbon cutting. In the corner of the photo, just barely visible, a tattoo. A small set of coordinates. Raina's stomach flipped. They matched the old freight dock on the hotel's blueprints. Level B2. A floor not listed on any elevator panel. That night, Raina stood in the utility shaft, flashlight shaking in her hand. The walls were damp. Concrete cracked. The smell of mildew and old paint lingered. She reached the hatch at the end. Locked. She pulled out the tool Eldon gave her and snapped it open. The hatch creaked. Beyond it, darkness. And steps. Leading down. At the same time, Nadine was on the roof. The helipad hadn't been used in years. She stared out across the skyline. She dialed the number from the matchbook. It rang once. Then a voice. Delmere was never just yours. Why now? She asked. Because your staff is watching you. You won't scare them. It's not them I'm after. Pause. You forgot what we built, Nadine. But I didn't. She hung up. The wind pulled at her robe. She didn't shiver. Raina reached the bottom of the stairs. An old service level. Dust thick on the ground. One flickering bulb hanging from rusted wire. Ahead of her, a vault door. Painted black. A keypad beside it. Cracked. Exposed wires. She reached for it, and the door swung open. On its own. Inside, filing cabinets. Old tape reels. Stacks of boxes stamped with the original Delmere insignia. And in the center, on a metal desk, a photo frame turned face down. Raina picked it up. Nadine again. This time not smiling. Just watching. Beside her, seated, for men. One of them was Ansel. The others were blurred. She turned the photo over. A date, October 18th, 2001, and a phrase in block letters, "Where the first guest still waits." Dishad was the first to hear Raina's scream. Then silence. The camera feed on sublevel 2 cut to black. Nadine was already running when the alert hit the panel. They found Raina huddled in the vault, unharmed but shaken. She pointed to the open cabinet. Inside it, a file folder. Thin. Marked. 5th key confidential. Eyes only. Nadine took it. Opened it. Inside, 1 page. Typed. A single line. It was never a hotel. It was a test. Attached, a security pass card. Unmarked. But old. Too old. Later, as rain lashed the windows of her office, Nadine held the card under the desk lamp. The magnetic strip was worn, but not useless. She swiped it through the internal reader. Access granted. A hidden directory opened. Dozens of files, each tagged to staff members. Background checks. Behavior notes. Financials. Even Dishad. Even Raina. Even Eldon. Even her. All compiled. All monitored. She hadn't ordered any of it, but someone had, and the last folder was named. Successor Protocol. She clicked it. Inside, a video. She hit play. A younger version of herself appeared on screen. She looked into the camera. "If you're watching this," she said, "then I'm either gone or compromised." Nadine's hand froze. The video continued. "I built Delmere to protect something, but I failed. They never left. They just waited. If the 5th key has resurfaced, it means the original debt has been reactivated. And someone inside is part of it." The screen went black. Then a final message appeared. "Trust no one until you find the guest who never checked out." In the hallway outside her office, Dishad paused. He could hear her breathing through the door. Slow. Steady. He adjusted the tray in his hands. But this time, there was no soup. Only a letter. From the original founder. Not Nadine, but her grandmother, who started it all. The letter was dated 1962, and the seal had never been broken. He knocked once, then twice, then stepped inside, and handed her the past. The seal broke with a soft crack. Delicate parchment. Yellowed edges. Nadine unfolded the letter slowly, afraid it might disintegrate under her fingers. The date in the corner, March 12, 1962. She read the first line. "If you are reading this, then the Delmere is no longer yours alone." Her grandmother's handwriting was familiar. Sharp, no flourishes, every letter carved like it was trying to outlive time. Back then, the Delmere wasn't a chain. It was one building, a converted manor in the middle of the city, bought with inheritance money and opened as a safe place for travelers turned away elsewhere. Nadine always thought her grandmother built it out of pride, but the letter told another story. The truth. She hadn't built it for herself. She'd built it for someone else. A man who arrived one stormy night in 1959. Bleeding. Silent. Carrying nothing but a pocket watch and a blood-stained ledger. He never gave a name. He paid in diamonds. And he never checked out. The 5th key, the letter said, isn't an object. It's a person. He's still here. Somewhere inside the walls of Delmere. Nadine's breath caught. She looked around the room. At the blueprints. The hollow floors. The sealed sublevels no one had touched in decades. The guest had never left because he couldn't. He'd been hidden. Locked away. By them. The video had warned her. Someone inside the hotel was part of the original pact. One of the old investors. One of the shadows. And someone was still watching. She set the letter down. Turned to Dishad. "Where did you find this?" He looked uneasy. "It was in the service cart. With the soup tray. But I didn't put it there." Nadine's eyes narrowed. "Who did?" He didn't answer. Because he didn't know. That night, she summoned Raina, Eldon, and Dishad to the old freight elevator. She held the founder's keycard in one hand. The floor button labeled Sub-X in the other. It glowed faintly when she pressed it. No one said a word as the elevator descended past level B2. Then B3. Then into unmarked territory. Concrete turned to steel. Walls closed in. And then silence. The elevator stopped. The doors opened. A corridor stretched before them, lit by single overhead lights. Along the walls, plaques, each one with a room number that didn't exist anymore. Each one labeled with dates that never appeared in any guest registry. Room 000, Room 001, Room 002. They walked past sealed doors until they reached the final one. Room X00. The keycard lock was old but functional. Nadine slid the card. Green light. Click. The room beyond wasn't a suite. It was a chamber. Circular. Steel walls. Air cold and sterile. At its center, a glass enclosure. Inside it, what looked like a medical bed, covered in white linen. A single chair beside it, and slumped in that chair, a man. Alive. Barely. Hooked to machines running on backup power. Breathing shallow. Tubes in his neck and arms. Eyes open but blind. Nadine stepped forward. His lips moved. Her name. He whispered it. Delmere. They wheeled him out together. Emergency staff brought in secretly. Cameras disabled. He was moved to a private floor no one had used in years. Nadine didn't sleep. She sat beside him, the man who'd been buried beneath her legacy. He didn't speak again for 2 days. But when he did, it unraveled everything. His name was Elian Travers. He wasn't a criminal, not in the way history had written him. He was a courier for a resistance network during the Cold War, running information between embassies and black business owners across the South, using hotels as safe houses. He was betrayed, shot, hunted, and hidden by those who owed him their lives. The original Delmere wasn't built as a hotel. It was built as a vault, a cover, a sanctuary for the information he carried, encrypted inside the very structure, hidden in rooms, paintings, passcodes. Delmere wasn't protecting money. It was protecting truth, and Nadine had inherited the whole thing without knowing. But someone else had known, and they'd been searching for Travers all along. The break-in, the note, the fifth key. It was all a chain of pressure meant to expose him. And it had worked. The hotel wasn't safe anymore. Not for him. Not for her. Raina found the microfilm reels in an old vent shaft. Thousands of pages, hidden in copper tubing. Codebooks. Names. Records. It was all real. The Delmere group had been built on top of a live wire. And someone was ready to strike. That night, the storm hit. Power flickered. Phones went dead. And the front desk received a message. Your checkout time has come. Armed men in suits entered through the staff doors. Quiet. Surgical. They moved with precision, looking for Travers. But he was gone. Nadine had moved him the night before, with the help of the only people she could trust. Raina. Dishad. Eldon. They loaded him into a laundry truck and vanished into the night, destination known only to one person. Nadine's sister, a surgeon in Savannah, the last living soul who knew how to protect men like Elian. Back in the penthouse, Nadine stood alone. She poured herself a drink, waited. When the door burst open, they found her holding the old founder's book. The one with every name, every lie. She smiled. You came too late. Behind them, a wall safe clicked open remotely. Inside, a flash drive. She tapped her earpiece. Send it now. Somewhere in the cloud, a file began uploading. All of it, the entire Delmere archive, set for public release. By morning, the story had broken across national news. The truth about the hotels, the sanctuary network, the buried history of resistance hidden in plain sight. Delmere was never just a chain. It had been a monument to survival, to truth, to us. A week later, Raina received a letter, written in Nadine's hand. No signature, just a phrase. The fifth key was never about who we hide. It's about who we protect. And taped to the back, a manager's badge, her name embossed in gold. Raina James, Executive Director. Below it, a note. Welcome home.